You. You're finally awake.
Shut up back there.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Ricky Summer here, and today I've come back in time to tell you why X4 is just Skyrim in space. But first, a message from our sponsor.
Come for the opportunities. Stay for the culture. Bay City.
Okay, so I've got an agenda here. I'll be honest, 100% transparency. Listen, X4 is a fantastic game. I love it. I love it for the same reasons that I loved Skyrim back in the day. But I feel like people are sleeping on it. And I feel like there are a lot of Skyrim peeps subscribed to this channel who would get a big old kick out of X4 if they just gave it a chance. So without further gilding the lily and with no more ado, I present to you why X4 is just Skyrim in space. Alright, so some of you might be going, Ricky Summer, what in the world is X4? X4 is a sandbox space sim. Now, you hear the word space sim and you might get the wrong idea. It's an open world. It's a living, breathing, simulated open world. You can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can ally with whoever you want. You can affect the economy in meaningful ways. You can sabotage, I'm serious, you can sabotage rival factions in meaningful ways. It's open and gives you the kind of freedom that we love from games like Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind. Why am I focusing on Skyrim specifically? I'm gonna be honest, YouTube algorithm. There's even similarities in the racial archetypes between both universes. We've got the Taladi, who are greedy space lizards concerned mostly with profits.
What do you want?
They're kind of like the Khajiit and the Argonians coming together. They live on a swamp planet. They've got wares. If you have credits, you get it. We all have Jaras on our bikes. There's the Split, one of my favorite races in the X universe. Honor bound, warrior culture, like the Dunmer and the Orcs coming together and giving birth to a Klingon.
Can I help?
The Boron are peace-loving, squiddy fish boys with advanced technology, kind of like the Bosma. Are the Bosma peaceful? I think I always see the Bosma as happy-go-lucky and peaceful. That's kind of what the Boron are like. We've got the Argon, who are like Imperials, bog-standard humans, kind of middle of the road, nothing special. The Terrans, the original race of humans, they're kind of like the Nords in that they're traditional and very protective of their homeworld. The Paranid, who are a religious empire that worship a god emperor, I believe it is. I don't know a hell of a lot about the Paranid because I hardly ever play as them, but they're kind of like the Ultima. And there might be some negative bias there because I kind of think both races are quite arrogant, but listen, I think there's a correlation there. Thank you to the guys in the Discord who helped me out with some of these connections. You were a great help. Okay, let's talk about gameplay here. So they're both open worlds. You can go anywhere and do anything. There's a freedom of customization between both games as well. Of course, in Skyrim, you create your character and you create your build as you go along. In X4, you don't create your specific character because it's not so important. Yeah, you can name your character. You can also name your corporation or whatever you want to call it within the X universe, but it's more about the ships. You customize your fleet. You can fly and you can control almost any ship in the game. And of course you can upgrade individual ships with better shields, better engines, different weapon loadouts. There's also ship tuning and upgrading once you go down the research path. And don't even get me started on actual station building, which is huge. You can build your own stations, manufacture whatever you want, set up just defense stations. You can control sectors. It's like in Skyrim, if you could build your homestead wherever you want, actually lay claim to that land, hire NPCs to work on your land, and actually produce all the resources in the game, any item you want, automated, hands off. And then you just slip in and just very occasionally you manage the process. And it's like, hey, we're doing a production line of swords. Then you hire some Khajiit to peddle it out to all the cities in Skyrim. Imagine if you could do that. That's X4. Even down to the plot structure, I would argue, between the two games, is very similar. It's an optional main plot. There's a whole bunch of plots in X4, and they're not like really that traditional because it's not, you know, your bog standard fantasy RPG. The plots are optional. Some of them give you like very important things, like the player HQ plot, of course. And I would liken that to the main plot, you know? Like in Skyrim, in X4, there's this optional main story that gives you something very powerful. In X4, it's a player HQ that opens up research. In Skyrim, it's shouts, you know? You can't really get your shouts properly until you progress at least partway through the story. Look, the two games even share some negatives. They're both huge open world games, so of course, what does that mean? It means bugs, and it means jank. Now, yeah, look, X4 is constantly being updated. I mean, we're up to version 3.3 at this point, and I have to commend Egosoft, the developers of X4, that they just keep pumping away. Yeah, they're known for releasing buggy games, but they put in the work, and they fix the game, and they add features, like meaningful features. It's very, very cool. But yeah, they're both buggy, they've both got an element of jank about them, but I think that just comes with the territory of that super open world where you can do whatever you want. I mean, X4 is so detailed, it can actually take a second to save the game, because the save files keep track of the exact location of every NPC in the universe and the location of every single asteroid chunk, so that when you load back into the game, everything is exactly where it was when you left. And of course, there's good things that they share as well, like the mod community. Yeah, X4 doesn't have as many mods as Skyrim because it's not as big, and that's what I hope to remedy, at least in part, with this video. I want more people to know about X4 because it's such a great game with such huge potential, and it's got some really great mods. Now, of course, it's not necessarily in the same vein. You're not going to get your big titty anime girls in X4 yet. But there are a lot of really cool scripts that give you more functionality with your fleets and allow you to automate things a lot more. In some ways, X4 is kind of like Skyrim meets Factorio in space. To a certain extent. It's not as deep in the automation as Factorio, but there's a little bit of that in there. But you also don't have to play it like that at all. If you just want to be in one ship and you upgrade that one ship and you fly around, you do missions or trading or mining or whatever you want to do, you can play it like that, sure. You might be missing out on some stuff there, but you can totally play it in that way if you want. You don't have to engage in like big fleet battles, but you can. You don't have to build stations that dominate the economy, but you can. You don't have to sabotage your enemies, but you can. You don't have to engage in piracy and steal ships to then sell back with very minimal equipment back to the guys whom you stole it from, just so that you can sabotage their own military, but you can do that. I mean, you can take over sectors and rename them. Imagine in Skyrim if you could take over Riverwood and call it whatever you want, and then on the map it will actually no longer say Riverwood, it will say whatever you've named it. That's just basic functionality in X4. So the point of this video is not to be like, yo, this is why X4 is better than Skyrim. The point of this video is to highlight all these cool things you can do about X4 and all the things I love about X4, and why I think if you love games like the Elder Scrolls series that give you all that freedom, I think you should give X4 a look. You might just be pleasantly surprised. And if you're stuck, because yeah, it's got a little bit of a steep learning curve, I'm not gonna lie. If you're stuck, go check out my video card up at the top of the screen right there that tells you what you can do at the beginning of the game and how to do it. It's really simple and it guides you through just what options you have when you first boot up a game in X4. So if I've piqued your interest and you're going, hey Ricky Summer, okay, you got me. I love my Skyrim. I wouldn't mind taking it into space. I'm ready. Give me some X4. Don't even trip. Season 2 of my X4 series is coming very soon. Let's go. I'm ready. We're gonna do a criminal playthrough. Manufacturing illegal goods, smuggling, piracy. Ooh. But for the moment, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to gently caress that like button, taste the game, be excellent to each other, and let me know some points I may have missed. What do you love about Skyrim? What do you love about X4? Give me some more similarities between the two, because I think, I look at the two and I go, listen, yeah, sure, one's fantasy, one's sci-fi, but I feel like they appeal to a very similar need in terms of gameplay and existing within a world. It gets me too excited. Anyway, I'll see you next time, guys. Ricky Summer, out.